Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Welcome back to your Valley Sports Plug Live. It is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. I'm your host, Chris Patrick. Tonight, we break down the Oklahoma City Thunder sweeping your Phoenix Suns in 4 games in a best-of-7 series. Your Arizona Cardinals make every single one of their selections in the 2026 draft. No trades happened, and one of the VSP3 was drafted by your Arizona Cardinals. Probably my favorite pick of the draft. We'll get into all that and so much more. Joining me tonight to break it all down, my co-host, Mr. Benjamin and Mr. T Jr. How are you guys doing tonight?
Gentlemen, it was only right for us to join the Phoenix Suns in Cancun, as you can see on the beautiful screen right now. I have some thoughts, some high-level thoughts, some glowing, just excitement for the future of this Phoenix Suns team, and also some concerns. I think a lot of Phoenix Suns fans are feeling that as well. And then the Arizona Cardinals brought in the love, baby. Mr. T Jr., how you feeling tonight, man? Thanks for joining us.
We're back. We're hopping off the Viking train, boys. I'm going to be excited to watch what happens over there, but man, am I so excited with the 3rd overall pick. We took Jeremiyah Love. Oh, man, I'm excited to see what you guys have to say about it. A couple other really interesting picks that we made. I'll throw in my 2 cents about the Suns here and there, kind of watched from an outsider stance. Hard to get excited, I'm not going to lie. But I can't lie about this. Excited to be here with you two gentlemen.
Hell yeah, we're excited to have you, Mr. T. Of course, your brother VSP Tallman is stranded somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean right now, sipping on pina coladas, enjoying his vacation, much like the Phoenix Suns are probably as of right about now. But we must persist. We must move on. But I want to thank everyone who's joining us live right here on YouTube for this live stream or watching back on the playback. We go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we also put the audio-only podcast version of this stream out on all streaming platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. You can find all of our links in the description below, but most of them are going to be at AZ_VSP. That's Instagram, X, TikTok, and the like. But let's go ahead and not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Starting with your Phoenix Suns. Yes, they were swept in 4. So it wasn't Suns in 4. It was Thunder in 4. And it's tough, guys, because we kind of all saw this coming. The writing was on the wall. Mike and I broke this down on PTO. And our challenge to them, and I think a lot of Suns fans' challenge to them, was go out there and win 1 game in this series. Take it to 5. If you really want to be scrappy, take it to 6. The sad thing is, I think we all knew the Thunder were going to take this one. They're the best team in the NBA. And despite the flopping and the free throw merchant and the foul baiter narratives, like, they are that good. Shea doesn't need to do all that. They're a hard-nosed defensive team. They play a full 48 minutes of basketball, and they're deep. When you talk about Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, and the like, man, it was a tough challenge for this Phoenix Suns team, but perspective is everything. You got to remember, only 36 wins last season, and we almost got 10 more wins than that. Even Devin Booker in the post game says that he thinks they could have won 5 to 10 more games this season, and maybe could have. Also, keeping in mind, I think Jalen Green missed some 50 games or more. Devin Booker and Dillon Brooks, other key pieces of that team. Obviously, Devin Booker, a key piece. They both missed about 20 plus each. And the 3 of them really didn't get a lot of cohesion. Now, personally, I've been thinking about this a lot today. I have a lot of strong opinions on the makeup of this team and a few of the specific players in general. Maybe we'll get into that tonight, maybe at a later date. But want to go around the horn here and just get everyone's reaction on the end of this Suns season and this playoff series we just witnessed. So, Mike, I'll hand it over to you first, man.
Well, I appreciate it. And I have to say right off the bat, I am a man of my word. If you listen to Heat Check Podcast episode 49, I said before the series started when we taped it that if the Suns were in a situation where they might get swept, I would be in attendance for game 4. And I was a man of my word. What a great game last night, guys. I mean, the Suns fought to the finish. They just didn't have enough dogs in the fight. The Oklahoma City Thunder are truly the best team in the NBA, like Chris touched on. But it truly was a remarkable finish to an ecstatic season, I think, that really beat all of our expectations, like I said. But I do, since I was in attendance, want to touch on game 4 just a little bit. Obviously, OKC won 131 to 122. But it was basically any punch that the Suns tried to throw, the Oklahoma City Thunder had the counter. In that first half, the Suns scored 67 points. Just were absolutely balling to start this game. But what happens? OKC meets them. OKC shot 50%, 17 from 34 from the three-point line as well. And the Thunder even turned the ball over a bunch, 17 times comparative to 12 for the Suns. But it's those age-old things which really did the Suns in this series. 26 of 30 from the line comparative to 12 of 16 for the Suns. Out-rebounded once again. Jalen Green did not shoot well at all. 10 of 25 total. 1 of 10 from deep, gentlemen. Just wasn't his best showing. But the big story, I think, on a lot of Suns fans' minds is that Devin Booker in a closeout game once again did struggle and struggled mightily in that first half. 2 points on no made field goals at that point. 5 turnovers in the first half, was a minus 14 overall in the first half. So if Booker actually just kind of shows up, I think the Phoenix Suns win this game. But he did rebound in the second half for 22 points. But it was too little too late. OKC had stretched it to 16. It seemed like they were up double digits for primarily 6 minutes after the third quarter and beyond. And there were little runs. I remember in the fourth quarter, as soon as Rasheer Fleming was checked into the game for the first time in this series, there was absolute juice back in the building. And what does he do? Gets a big block on Shea. The Suns come down, get a Booker bucket. Then Dillon Brooks gets another and one. And you thought for a second maybe that was the momentum that they need. But like I said, every punch, OKC had the counter punch. I know we're going to have some more high leverage thoughts on this series and what's coming forward for the Suns as a whole right now. But I got to ask Mr. T Jr., what'd you think? How'd you feel about the Suns' performance against maybe the eventual champions? I think it's looking likely.
I mean, if I was like my brother and I was a betting man, I would for sure put the house on the Thunder. I feel like we alluded to it before we kind of went live here, was talking about, I feel like we got Kevin Duranted, if to use it. We've been in this weird, I'm never going to fault, as an Arizona sports fan, any Arizona sports team making the playoffs. First off, that hands down awesome. We made the playoffs. With this against, the past champion, the probably 2-time champion, is it even worth going to the playoffs? You, Mike, said that you went to the game, and I have a great question for you. During all the height of everything, even when we had, Cam Johnson 2019, there was so much energy in the Valley when we got to the playoffs. We got to these games, whether we were down, 3-0, 2-1, whatever the case is. I'm curious, for that game 4, was it kind of like a dead man walking vibe in that stadium? Like, kind of what was the general consensus amongst you fans? Was it kind of like just happy we made it, like good season? What was it like?
Well, before any game, there's always a little bit of a glimmer of a hope, even when you're down 3-0. Is there a hope for a series win? If you're a realist, you know that there isn't. But maybe to get the energy in there, knowing that your backs are against the wall, I think a lot of fans brought the heart into that stadium to start. And through the first half, it was evident that the Suns were going to match the energy that the crowd gave them. And that's why it was such an exciting start to the game, even while Devin Booker was struggling mightily. Guys like Colin Gillespie were hitting from deep. Grayson Allen finally kind of got back into the fold. Dillon Brooks was doing exactly what he had done all series long. And the Suns were just clicking offensively, just the best that they've played probably in the past 2.5 months, gentlemen, to be honest with you. But you only got so high because the Thunder were marching step by step exactly with them. And then they would start to take those eventual leads and put their foot a little bit further ahead than the Suns. So I think really when that second half started and the Thunder pushed to that double-digit lead and Alex Caruso is hitting 5 3-pointers, I think a lot of the fans saw it and saw the writing on the wall that this one was probably not going to go in the Suns' favor. But for the most part, everybody in there was still invested, I think specifically because, and my reason why I was in there, to thank this Suns team for what they accomplished this year when all of the narratives were that this team might be a bottom 3 team in the NBA. They exceeded expectations so heavily. I think it was so important to go there and say thank you, even when you lose in the worst possible way that you could in a playoff series. So, it was funny. I'll go back to Heat Check 49. I talked about I hadn't been to a playoff game since the NBA Finals Game 2 because high leverage playoff games give me anxiety. But I think this was very important to be there from all the successes that they showed, the truly rebuilding of the brand of Phoenix Suns basketball, creating that identity like Mr. GM was talking about this entire season. So that's why I thought it was so impressive and imperative to be there to say thanks. And I'd say a lot of Suns fans could feel that in the building last night too. Now, Chris, I know you weren't there. Hopefully you did catch it on the game. Did you kind of feel that too from some of the energy you were getting on the TV screen?
Yeah, I would say so. I think the crowd was a lot more engaged, and especially the run at the end when Devin Booker kind of had his little spurt there, and it kind of seemed like we could make this a game, but it just goes to show you, man, like there are levels to this, and you can have all the energy in the building, but when you have a team as talented as the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have the ability to just suck the life out of a situation like that. And I was telling Mr. T here before we kicked off, like I was cooking dinner while I was watching the first half of the game. And there was a point where I think the Suns were up by like 2 or 3 points early on. And that's about the time I started watching, actually. And I was like, oh, wow, it was actually a game. I turn around, I'm at the stove, I'm, putting stuff together, and I'm listening to it, and I kind of hear what's happening. I hear that the Suns take a timeout, and I turn around and look at the score, and we're down by like 7 points. And so it's like those quick swings where it's like a few turnovers here, a 3 on the other end, the ball movement. Things can get away from them real fast. I will say I did appreciate the Suns fans showing up and showing out when basically all hope was lost. I know there's probably a good amount of Oklahoma City Thunder fans. I'm doing, for anyone listening audio only, I'm doing rabbit ear bunny quotes because those fans aren't even from Oklahoma City. They've never stepped foot in that city. They just really like the team, and people just follow success. But I'll get off my hater soapbox for a second. I mean, if that's your team, I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. But yeah, man, I think perspective is everything. And I've been saying this, the Suns expectations going into this season were like rock bottom, especially coming off the last 2 seasons that we witnessed. And I'll eat my own words. I was very critical of the Brian Gregory hire, somewhat of the Jordan Knott hire as well. All the press conferences about alignment and we're going to do things the right way. And Matt Ishbia coming out and not shying away from it, saying, I am going to be involved in the day-to-day and the decision-making. I'm like, oh boy, what are we getting into now? But honestly, like, a 10-game leap or 9-game leap, I guess, in record improvement. We're not going to obviously expect that every year, and there's still a lot of work to do on this roster. But I think we have more answers than questions, and I'm excited to see where they go in terms of player development when we're talking about the future of this team. But the last thoughts, like, I'll kind of share on this series, and I'll let you guys share yours as well, is I am worried about Devin Booker and the role that he's expected to play and the role that he is currently playing. When we got rid of Kevin Durant, it said, hey, man, this team's yours again. You're going to take the keys. And I know that's what we were saying during the Kevin Durant era is, oh, it's still Booker's team. Durant's here is just a supporting piece. But Booker really took a back seat to Kevin Durant, and then he's stayed in the back seat. There were times at this season when he did step forward and he showed that he could be that game dominant takeover kind of player. But if you look at this series with Oklahoma City, he took 22 less shots than Dillon Brooks, who should be the third option at best on this team. They both shot around the same percentage, 45 for Brooks, 46 for Devin Booker. But God damn it, guys, there's no reason Dillon Brooks should be taking 20 plus shots a game, doing the ISO ball thing. He's not that dude. This was a career year for him, obviously, but it really soured me to Dillon Brooks in particular. And like I said, it has me worried about Devin Booker.
Past the outlets coming up real soon, Chris. We're going to have further discussions specifically on Devin Booker. So I'll just keep it more high level to this series. Wasn't his best. Obviously, the play-ins weren't his best either, but only averaged 21.3 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 4.8 assists compared to Dillon Brooks, who averaged 26 points in this series. And then I already said what Jalen Green did in that game 4, but he averaged more points than Devin Booker in this series. And it seemed like every game they were outshooting him by at least 8 or more. Now, there is a reason to this to a certain extent, right? I saw it firsthand. They were flashing Devin Booker with doubles like you hadn't seen before. And they were flashing it when he was off ball. So running through actions, he would always have to come off screens just to be able to get the ball and then try and find mismatches. But OKC is such a dialed-in defensive team. They can switch, even with their big man, Isaiah Hartenstein. And there were plenty of times it seemed like when Devin Booker would try and go off the dribble, his athleticism was not there to meet up with this defensive prowess of the OKC Thunder. It was incredible, right? And I'm not trying to discredit what Devin Booker didn't do, but it shows you the weight classes. This is where the Thunder are. This is where the Suns are right now. And it's going to take a lot of moving pieces to really get there. But in regard to Devin Booker, I will say at the same time, and I heard it, I can't remember if it was from Dan Bickley or it might have been Gambo, one of those guys on 98.7. You can't hold the hand of your superstars sometimes when they're getting double teamed. You have to find a way. I'll keep it as simple as that. We'll dive into it more on Past the Outlet. But when the superstars need to show up, the superstar did. SGA averaged 33.8 points and 8 assists, 55% from the field. I mean, they got contributions from all their guys. Chet averaged 17 and 8. AJ Mitchell, who stepped in for the injured Jalen Williams, averaged 15 in this series. Isaiah Hartenstein was basically on double-double watch all series long. But overall for the Phoenix Suns, they didn't have the firepower to match up with the second unit of OKC as well. You loved what Colin did in game 4. You loved what Colin Gillespie did all season long. But he is an undersized guard, and there's limitations to those kind of things. And same for Oso. 7.5 points and 7 rebounds in this series is great for your first time in the playoffs. But him being your starting center when you couldn't rely on Mark Williams, who caught the injury bug down the stretch, and you can't play your number 10 overall pick and come on Malawatch. The Suns were undermanned. They didn't match up height-wise overall, and you could see it throughout this series. And it makes sense that this team was swept by the previous champions, man. It was a fun run. And Tallman, I think I have to answer your question one more time. I don't know if you asked it specifically, but you said, would you rather be in the playoffs or not? Because I know there's a lot of people who can be on both sides of the camp. My main thing is as seasons go along, your expectations have to change a bit, right? When Chris and I sat down and talked about the predictions for the Phoenix Suns, where we looked at about 34 to maybe stretching 38 wins, when this team was in the 6th spot the entire season, you said to yourself, well, you needed to look yourself in the mirror and say, this is a playoff team. And for them to not make the playoffs would be a disappointment of a season at that point, no matter where you started before. So winning that play-in game against Golden State was imperative. But it also showed you that the Suns still have a lot of room to grow because they honestly had a lot of opportunities to take advantage of really winning some easy matchups down the stretch of this season, but they lost their way and they ended up being in that play-in tournament where they should have been in the 6th seed. We should be matched up with either the Denver Nuggets or the San Antonio Spurs, where you have way better of a fighter's chance than against the OKC Thunder. But this is a fun one that came across the airwaves today, Tallman. I don't know if you saw this, but SGA, as parting ways, kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say took a shot, but you know, he made a post to his fellow Canadian, Dillon Brooks. You can see in this photo, he did a little Photoshop action where it says Cancun on 3. And he said, everybody wants to be villainous until the brooms come out and the dust settles and you realize who the villain is. As somebody, please tell me if I'm wrong, who basketball is not your number one sport, what does this do for you as a fan, as like wanting to be more invested in the game moving forward? And do you think it's warranted to go after Dillon Brooks, who continues to show his hand night in, night out that he wants to be the villain? So he needs to sit and take this.
Yeah, no, it comes with the territory with that. I will say I do like the attitude of it. I do like seeing like Sports Center post clips of him literally just like as the dude's doing jumpers in front of him. It's crazy. I love that. I think we need that sort of chippiness. Like MFC alluded to, no way in hell should he be taking anywhere near any amount of more shots than Devin Booker ever. I think he is strictly your culture setter. I think he's that dude, like in hockey. You know, hockey, you have the enforcer. You have the guy that's like, you don't touch my superstar. And if you do, like, I'm going to fuck you up. Like, I'm going to do some stuff. I'm going to get in your head. My strategy might not even be playing the game. It's more so just to mess with you. I love this guy. I think for me, it definitely, it made me more invested in actually like going to watch the games. Like when I went out to eat with my wife, I was like, I'll sit over here because I was like, I want to watch what's going to happen. I was like, the dude always does something wild. Like there's always something. He knows it's over. But yeah, man, I like to see superstars like it. You wouldn't see this 10 years ago. LeBron would have never done anything like this. So for SGA to do this and to post some shit, yeah, for me, it makes me want to see. It makes me, I'm interested. I'm interested to see what we do. I'm not gonna lie, like the whole Kevin Durant thing, I was like, this is stupid. Like it was really hard for me after that to like get into it. I was pissed that we got rid of, I mean, I love sitting there watching like Cam Johnson, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges. Like that was when it was fun for me. And like my family sat there and we watched it and we gave all those guys up for somebody. And for me, it was kind of like more of like a boycott. So, but I'm not going to lie. This guy right here, him playing for the Suns, his attitude, his chippiness, everything like that. Yeah, for me, it's what gets me excited. It's like, I don't want to go out there and watch SGA farm for free throws and shoot 25. It's just, for me, it's boring. Like it's not like hack-a-shack type stuff. So no, this is cool. This is cool to see where you see them kind of like bantering because it's the NBA is young, man. The superstars are young. We're old. Like they're growing up in this stuff. So for them, nah, this is cool. And this is the type of stuff the NBA needs because it's nothing bad. He plays the part. We all know it. This is what happens, dude. There's a target on your back and now there's Cancun on 3.
and make no mistake, like I totally agree with you, Matt. These are two dudes that the NBA and more broadly outside of the city they play in, people love to hate these two players. Both of them, they're both villainous, if you want to call them that. Two big takeaways though from what I'm seeing on my screen here. First is the comment in the bottom right corner of the screen. With the Photoshop picture of SGA in a dress. Absolutely ridiculous. The internet is undefeated and I'm totally here for it. And number two, important context of this, SGA and Dillon Brooks are teammates for Team Canada. They are somewhat familiar with each other, somewhat friendly with one another. So I think that kind of plays a part in SGA feeling comfortable posting something like this. Because even Dillon Brooks, the whole series, was saying how he wanted to take SGA one-on-one, ISO him, and go at him. And it's all about this rivalry they had playing for Team Canada, like frenemies, if you will. Like they know when to be teammates when they're playing for their national team, and they know when they're opponents and their enemies. I mean, Mike and I have a little bit of this as well when we're on the court. When we're on the same team, we love the ball. When we're going against each other, he's gonna body me a little bit, and I'm gonna hack the shit out of him if he's going for a layup. I mean, he's 6 inches taller than me. What do you want me to do? But I love it. I agree with you. This is exactly what the NBA needs. It stirs the pot. It builds the narratives. But man, yeah, I think Dillon Brooks playing more of the enforcer role, the role player, the third option, is better suited to him than being the primary scorer and the main guy out there. And we need Booker to step up. But like Mike said, more of those conversations to come when we hit past the outlet, which I think is going to happen next week. We're going to do more of a deep dive into the Phoenix Suns, what we think they should do going into this offseason, maybe a little bit of becoming a little bit of an overused term, but a bit of a post-mortem on the season. We'll deep dive it all and look forward to that. But there are other fish to fry and plenty more topics to get to here. And one big one, and maybe the last one, honestly, guys, the Arizona Cardinals just completed their draft over last weekend, starting on Thursday, finished up on Saturday. I think there were some pretty big surprises. There were some pretty big needs addressed as well. I guess we should just do a high-level reaction. I guess, Mike, do you have like a list of all the draft picks here? Maybe we can just break down the list real quick.
Oh, you know I do, man. And we have to start off with the number 3 overall pick. Who was on the VSP top 3 that you said? Jeremiyah Love. Chris, take it from here, brother.
Man, again, going to sound a little cliche. You're going to hear it a lot, but I love this pick. This was a guy that I had heard mentioned as an option a couple months back before, the draft even was starting to get winding up and the mocks were coming out. And I heard someone say like, hey, this guy is generational talent. You started hearing a lot of comparisons to other great players. And then the week of the draft came and there were all these reports coming out. Cardinals are interested. There's a strong voice, Michael Bidwill, inside the organization that really literally likes Jeremiyah Love. And there was speculation like, is this just, noise to get people interested in a trade, get some fear out there that people might need to trade up to get Jeremiyah Love? Even up until the moment the draft started, I think it was reported and probably widely believed and probably the case that the Cardinals were actively looking to trade out of the number 3 spot, trade down, get some more picks. But clearly there wasn't a trade offer they liked, and they stuck at 3 and they took the pick and they got Jeremiyah Love. On my way home from work yesterday, I listened to his introductory press conference, and this kid is incredible. I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out, but he comes from a very strong upbringing. Both of his parents were in the military. Both of his parents were police officers. This kid is very well-spoken, very hardworking, very humble. And man, you see the accolades there. He won the Doak Walker Nation's Best Running Back in 2025. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist, 137 scrimmage yards per game, 18 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns. People call him like a Swiss Army knife running back. There's comparisons to Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey. This dude can catch it, run it, goal line threat, open field threat. He's just as likely to break out an 80-yard touchdown run as he is to hammer one in on the goal line. So obviously mixed reactions nationally. A lot of people concerned about the Cardinals' other positions of need, mainly on the offensive line, talking about edge rushers, the secondary, things like that. But as we said over and over again on the Heat Check podcast, and even last week on our draft preview stream, you go and you draft the best available player. And without a doubt, Jeremiyah Love was the best player available at 3, and most likely the best player in the draft. And big expectations, but if there's anyone that's up for the task, I think it's this kid. But want to know what you guys think before we get into the rest of the picks you see here.
I mean, I'm a fan again. I mean, I was so afraid of us trading out of this, dude. Trading out of this and not grabbing this kid would be like not getting Ricky Williams or not getting Bijan Robinson or not getting. I can't. The kid's insane. The kid's insane. And what's also insane is Notre Dame also pumped out another great running back that we're going to have the chance to see twice a year on the Seattle Seahawks. Great kid too. Would not have been upset with that. But dude, James Conner, who? Tyler Algier, who? Like, I am so excited for this. It's, for me, this is one of those things like MFC touched on. There's no character question. This isn't going to be there's going to be nothing like that. This is something to where if the Cardinals do it right and we don't do anything stupid, we could have a guy that's a solid 1,000-yard rusher for 8 to 10 seasons. And what scared me at first is when we picked this pick, we'll talk about it on the next pick, I was like, who the hell is going to block for the kid? But dude, you watch some of the highlights, the kid just doesn't go down. Great center of gravity. He runs very north-south, but he can move left-right. He's very shifty, very agile, catches the ball great out of the backfield. He is a menace in the flat for any cornerback. Tough tackle on the open field. I don't know. If this kid isn't, if he doesn't have if he's not rookie of the year, I'll be shocked. I'll literally be shocked. Like, it's just one of those things where he is so damn good. The Cardinals finally did something right in my eyes in a draft. We didn't trade out of it. I was really afraid of that, but this is a kid that we could see playing in the Cardinals uniform for at least 10 plus years and being pretty damn effective.
I like the call of offensive rookie of the year, Matt. Go ahead and put your money on it. We are not financial advisors, folks, but I've seen a lot of not mock drafts. What do they call it? Predictions in regard to his numbers that could possibly happen with the Arizona Cardinals in 2026. And I'm seeing 1,200 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, like 400 yards receiving. The Swiss Army knife is the perfect way to describe him, man. And he's accomplished, man. The last 2 seasons at Notre Dame, he rushed for over 2,500 yards and 35 touchdowns. And he wasn't even truly considered a bell cow, which now he can become on this Arizona Cardinals team. Other things too. I always love seeing NFL comparisons. Do they match up normally? No, but if you give me a Jahmyr Gibbs comparison, sign me up every day of the week. The biggest thing about this pick for me, gentlemen, is the Arizona Cardinals still lack star power. Trey McBride should be considered the best tight end in the NFL just off of numbers and metrics alone, but he doesn't have the same bravado as you could even say George Kittle or a Travis Kelce. There's superstars present themselves differently. We hope to get that from MHJ, but what do we know about the superstars in the wide receiver positions? They're normally boisterous. They speak their minds. Sometimes they don't shut up. MHJ is a real quiet kid trying to find his way. Jeremiyah Love is in a position to get a puncher's chance to be the face of this franchise very quickly in what is more than expected to be another tough season for the Arizona Cardinals. But I will say as well, NFL.com had a post-draft rankings that listed the Arizona Cardinals as the 32nd team in the NFL. So literally the worst. That's once again national media not paying attention. We have plenty of players at every position, it seems like, that if we put it together correctly, you're looking more closer to 6 to 7 wins. But that's besides the point. Jeremiyah Love brought the juice back. I was in attendance for the PHNX draft party, and Johnny Venerable said something right before the pick came out that he said, the ghosts of Adrian Peterson's past be damned. And that was exactly it, where everybody probably wanted a lineman to continue to build this team out. Taking any of them would have been a stretch at 3. They stuck, and they took the right pick in Jeremiyah Love, who I cannot be more excited about coming up here. Chris, are you in love with Love like me and Matt? I think you are, but I think it's smart if we at least go through Chase Bisontis and Carson Beck, and then I got another graphic for the last 3 rounds as well. But give us your last thoughts on Love, baby.
Yeah, man, it's easy to get caught up in the hype, and I'm not even gonna say pump the brakes, man, because like it's got to be full steam ahead. Like Jeremiah Love, I think is gonna be an automatic RB1. Obviously, there are concerns with what that room is gonna look like. It's a little bit crowded there now. The Cardinals they went out and got Tyler Algier in the offseason. They reworked James Conner's contract. You still have Trey Benson, so it's hard to imagine that they're gonna keep 4 running backs on the active roster, but I guess anything's possible. Still a lot of time left to figure that out through trades and whatnot. But honestly, like last year, man, the running back room was very banged up. And the last thing you want to see is Michael Carter be your starting running back by week 6. Like, no disrespect to Michael Carter, appreciate what he did, but yeah, this is a great pick. This is a no-brainer. And we talked about it last week. Again, last thing I'll say about it is, this offensive line, this offense in general might not be ready for Jeremiah Love to have the best situation for his rookie season, but you have him under contract for a minimum of 5 seasons. So you got, 4 or 5 years to work on building a team around him and convincing him to stay here, and then giving him that second contract if he holds up and is worth the money, which all indications point to that being the case. Now, you never know how college players are going to translate to the NFL, but high hopes for this kid, and being labeled a generational talent goes a long way. But you're right, Mike. We should get to the rest of these picks because I won't want to say they're as important, but they are very important. Clearly, with the taking of Jeremiah Love at number 3 there, a lot of people said, wow, they should have gone offensive line. They should have gone defense. They should have gone this. They should have gone that. Everyone has an opinion. But the Cardinals immediately responded. And with the 34th overall pick in the draft, I think it was that would be the second pick in the second round. They take the offensive guard Chase Bisontis out of Texas A&M. The big boy, 6'5", 315 pounds. He was the 2023 freshman All-American, 2025 third team All-SEC. It's a tough football conference if you aren't familiar. He was a tackle to start his college football career. He became the starting guard the last 2 seasons at A&M. Really has, from what I've heard, a lot of power to hold up the interior of the line. Can be a little bit slow to the punch, but I mean, a young guy, room to grow into an offensive system under Mike LaFleur. I really do like this pick. I remember, Mike, over the weekend, I think you and I were talking a bit about this when we were hooping on Sunday, and he could start. Like, honestly, they could thrust him right into the starting role and start getting those reps early. And we'll talk about that with the round 3 pick, I'm sure, when we think he'll get his first start. But expect Chase to play this season. I would totally anticipate that to be the case. Matt, what did you think of this one?
I mean, I'm a fan of it. I was literally just looking over here as you were talking at his combine tape where he was out in Indianapolis, and he moves great, man. For his size, he's a big boy, decent footwork. It looks like he's able to get downfield pretty quickly, which with Jeremiah Love, I'm hoping you're making blocks downfield and taking out a safety or something like that. I'm not mad at all at this. I think it's great to go get one of those big guys in one of the Power 5 conferences. It's nice to see us go get somebody from the SEC, which could arguably be considered the most pro-ready, conference in college football. It's one of those things where, given our past track record with, injuries on the line and things like that, I wouldn't be shocked to see those tattoos out there week 4, week 5 in the interior making some blocks. But this was my big concern when we did make that first pick with Jeremiah Love. I was like, holy shit. I was like, oh my God, we did it. And then I stopped. It was like, well, we got to get somebody. We got to get somebody big. Like, are we going to trade up? Or is the Ty Simpson thing going to happen? By the time my high from the third pick overall, it was probably the 15th pick, saw the Rams took Ty Simpson. So I was like, okay, shit. What do? We didn't make any trades, which I was kind of shocked that we didn't do anything like that. Day 2 came. This for me is a pretty good answer. I mean, I'm excited for it. 2025 third team All SEC, freshman All American, which is huge. I mean, the dude moves great. Freaking 5 second 40-yard dash, 32-inch vertical. Looks like he shuffles great, 20-yard shuffles, a 4.7, 29 bench. Yeah, no, this could be one of those things. Another one where if we do it right, he grows into it, stays healthy, we could have a pretty decent interior lineman.
This is a home run of a pick, because the other thing that you always love about these SEC products is that they're basically getting experience against the next guys that are coming up in the NFL, and he has plenty of it. He's tough. He brings heavy hands. Matt talked about his good footwork and his plus core strength. He's consistent as a move and zone blocker when he's working downhill. He is going to have to hit with his hands first, because sometimes it seems like he gets outreached a little bit. But the beautiful thing about this, and you guys kind of touched on it, you didn't reach for your quarterback, which you knew you were going to need address, and you went in the trenches, which is one of the main priorities that this team needs to continue to take chances on. It is remarkable how quickly this offensive line eroded just from 2024 with James Conner, the Cardinals sitting at 8-6 in the lead in the NFC West, then to the next season not being able to run the ball. Now, I know there were some injury issues. Jonah Williams was just never the guy that we hoped for. Our young guards like Isaiah Adams not hitting, but like I just said, you got to take swings at the big boys in the trenches, man. And guys, I think he's going to have a real good chance to maybe be week 1 starter, because the inconsistencies of Isaiah Adams really showed towards the end of last year. And I know we still wanted to address the right tackle, which probably would have been the best pick here, but there were 6 tackles that were taken in the first round. You're not going to stretch. I think Bisontis was either the first or the second on boards for offensive guards. So you get the better play and the better option here to continue to bolster your offensive line and go from there. So I love this pick. I cannot wait to see what he brings to moving people around and getting Jeremiyah Love off the ground and running real quick. But Chris, will it be with Carson Beck at the helm, man?
I know that there are a lot of Cardinals fans that don't want to hear this. And, coming off the heels of Kyler Murray, you couldn't get a more different quarterback. This guy is literally a whole foot taller than Kyler Murray. And you're not going to have to worry about him seeing over that offensive line. I like the build. I like the build. Whatever you call this build, I like it. 6'5", 233 pounds. But there is quite a bit of baggage that comes along with Carson Beck. 6 years in college. He was, I like to call these guys, why am I forgetting it? There was that Ryan Reynolds movie where he was in college for a long time. Help me out here, guys. You know this.
Oh, I do know this, and I'm
Van
blanking at it. Van Wilder.
He's the Van Wilder quarterback, a football player. A lot of these kids, and you start to wonder, like, are they scared of going to the next level? Are they not capable of playing at the next level? Now, I think last year with Miami was the first time he really got a chance to be the starter for the full year. He spent, I think, the majority of his career at Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, was part of 2 national championship games. And I was just doing some research on the fly here, and I totally forgot that Georgia absolutely demolished TCU in the 2023 college football matchup. It was a 7-65. Carson Beck actually did get in that game, made 2 completions on 3 attempts for 31 yards, but obviously that's in garbage time. Backing up Stetson Bennett for both of those games. Kind of interesting. Fun facts are like Carson Beck did play in the Fiesta Bowl that was here in State Farm Stadium during this last college national championship run where they came up just short to Fernando Mendoza in Indiana. But in that game, he was 23-37, 268, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But we talk about the baggage. I mean, let's talk about his game in general. There's a lot of criticisms of his ability to have that clutch gene, as they call it, and be able to perform in clutch situations. I heard a stat today where he's just as likely to throw an interception as he is a touchdown when under pressure. Like, the stats are literally right down the middle where it's 50-50. You don't know what he's going to do. And we've talked about Kyler Murray under pressure, who's kind of had the similar trait where he would either chuck it up and it'd be a great success, or you would say, what the hell was that throw? And it'd be an interception. I know there's, whether it's fair for him or not, there are going to be a lot of comparisons between what he's able to do out there versus what Kyler Murray's out there to do. There are questions about Carson Beck's character and the company that he keeps. He had, I think, some Instagram model girlfriend. He had 2 Lamborghinis that he had stolen. He was in the news and the media. And you just want a stable guy out there who's going to be low profile. And I think that's a lot of the intrigue around Fernando Mendoza, is he's like a humble family, guy with Christian background. Now he's going to the city of sin, and we'll see how that works. But talking about Carson Beck, Mike, to answer your question, I think we're going to see him start more games than we're not. There are questions, again, similar to the running back room. That quarterback room is starting to get a little crowded. It's hard to imagine that they'll dress 3 quarterbacks to start every Sunday. When you talk about having Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew, who they just went out and got Gardner Minshew to back up Jacoby Brissett, and now they get Carson Beck. So I have no idea what the depth chart's going to look like, but I imagine you dress Carson Beck because there's no expectations of the Cardinals finding any level of success or having playoff expectations, I guess, to put it simply. So with a stacked quarterback class coming up in 2027, you got to roll the dice and see what you have with Carson Beck. And the only way to do that is to shake them and throw them. So you got to throw Carson Beck into the fold and see what you got in him. But Mike, curious what you think about this pick.
Yeah, I'm just so enamored with Arizona Cardinals fans who don't think that this guy is going to start more than 6 games. Like, have you paid attention to what the Arizona Cardinals are and what they're doing moving forward? Jacoby Brissett is holding this team hostage for starter money. They might pay him $20 million, but they still have a large cap hit, and they can do it to a certain extent, but you invest this high, like the round 3 pick is no chump change, folks. Like, this is somebody who should at least be getting an opportunity early in their career to see what it is. And the quarterback room of the Arizona Cardinals is perfectly set up for whoever the Arizona Cardinals were going to get draft this year was going to play, and probably play a decent amount. So the people who are like, Carson Beck's not going to play at all this year, what was the point? Like we've already said, Monty Osfort has to take a swing. He needs to see if this guy can be anything. Because once again, if he's not, and your team isn't that great, then you look to 2027 and take that pick. But you're not going to have just drafted him in the 3rd round and play Jacoby all year so you can tank. Like, that's just not what's happening. This guy, with all of his character flaws, he was a 3-year starter. He has the NFL caliber size. And the beautiful thing about it too is he has lots of experience in high leverage games, folks. Like, that matters, man. He did have that UCL surgery to his throwing elbow in 2024. So those are some concerns, because it seems like he's kind of lost a little bit of drive and velocity on his deep balls and his move throws, but he's smart enough. He works through his progressions at good pace. He can throw with anticipation. He's athletic enough to escape the pocket and outrun pursuits for first downs. Like, he's going to have a chance, and I would rather give it to him earlier than not, because there is no future with Jacoby Brissett. There's no future with Gardner Minshew. I just can't believe people are thinking that this kid's not going to start a good amount, man. It's crazy. Matt, am I taking crazy pills here?
No. Jacoby Brissett has cinder blocks for cleats, and Gardner Minshew looks like he got lost on a hunting trip in Louisiana. I'm gonna protect my boy here. Don't you dare throw shade. Hey, they're not together anymore. Carson Beck and Hannah Cavender aren't together. She was a great guard at the University of Miami. Yeah, she was at Miami Hurricanes. That's where Carson Beck transferred to. She played there for 5 years. Great basketball player. But as of April 2026, they are not together. So she is not an Instagram model. She's quite pretty, though. I will say that. She has a twin sister. But anyways, no, dude, I slot this stupid fucking thing. I've seen this everywhere. I can't. Thank you. I agree with you guys. I think we're gonna see him probably play, or he's probably going to start more games than any of the other 2 or the 3 of them together, whatever. I think we're going to see him a lot. I think he's the most NFL ready quarterback in the draft. Arguably, you could argue that he was a victim. He was a freshman in 2020. So the NCAA allowed people in 2020 to get an extra year of eligibility. So that's why he has that extra year. So don't hate on him for being a damn super senior. The dude was awesome. He was great at Georgia for 2 years. He was great at Miami. Yeah, I mean, this is nice. We didn't reach. We didn't do anything super crazy. We have something that, I mean, he's like MFC said, the build's great. 6'5", 230. He's got all of the tangibles. He's got great pocket presence. He moves good. He steps up great. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you're not going to see it if it translates to the NFL until we actually see it, but which we're going to see sooner rather than later. But yeah, I'm not mad at all. I think this is one of those things where fuck Jacoby. You want my honest opinion? Like, I don't like Jacoby Brissett. I think this whole starter money thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, you know you're a journeyman. You know what your role is in the NFL. There's a reason why you hop around and do all that. So no, I'm excited for Carson Beck. I think it's a great opportunity. It gives him the best opportunity to come in and actually make an impact year one. Yeah, I think it could be good. Could be really interesting. Could be completely dog shit. Who knows? But not mad at all.
So, Mike, it's interesting here. I think I just learned something about Mr. T here. He's not a Kyler Murray defender or a Kyler Murray stan. He's just an Arizona Cardinal quarterback defender. Like, and I respect that. If you're gonna ride or die with our guys, like, I'm here for it. I'm about it. And I totally agree with you, Matt, because Jacoby Brissett, I can't blame him and his agent for trying to capitalize on an opportunity they thought they saw. But now I guarantee you the Cardinals have gone back and they're like, do you still want that starter money, bud? Or do you want to still be in the NFL and be on this team? And honestly, if they can find a trade partner, I'm okay with them trading Jacoby Brissett because, again, like, we have no delusions of making the playoffs and like what kind. I mean, it's a little different in football, but I would say it's similar to the Suns, whereas like we don't have any playoff expectations. It'd be nice if they get there, but in football, what's the point of making the playoffs if you're not going to win the Super Bowl, if you don't have a chance to win the Super Bowl? And I don't know, any given Sunday, all that, a lot of talent, who knows? If Carson Beck takes the Cardinals to the Super Bowl year one, like, retire his number as a rookie. Like, I swear to God, I'll buy the jersey. I'll be a fan, but I don't know. Mike, I got to follow up on something Matt said and see if you agree with him. With the 65th overall pick, probably the 4th or 5th best quarterback in this draft class, according to some rankings, Matt said we didn't reach to get him. And I think that's a big criticism for a lot of Cardinals fans, is that you might have been able to get him later, and maybe even could have liked Drew Aller or someone like that a little more. What do you think? Do you think we got him at the right spot there at 65?
I think we did, because you couldn't take the risk to sit back and watch. And I'm sure the Arizona Cardinals and Monty were on the phone hearing the rumblings of other people who might have been interested. But at that point, with the Rams reaching at 13, that opens up so many more picks in front for teams that would be willing to take a flyer on a quarterback, and somebody like Carson Beck that has the measurables and has shown the talent at times during his time at Georgia and Miami. I mean, he just took them to the national championship. Granted, he did throw the pick that might have cost them the game, but at the same time, those kind of guys are always going to get opportunities earlier than not. So what else needed to be addressed? Like, I'm not going to take a tackle there. If you're really working to get a tackle for a starter of the future, probably not finding them in the 3rd round, right? Those kind of guys are 1st round quality guys. Those are the Paris Johnson Juniors of the world. You know what I mean? So who else? I know people are talking about, well, you need to start looking at safety help, and we're going to get into rounds 4 through 7. But as you stretch further on in the draft, we know the talent pool is just not the same as it is within the first, I would say, 70 picks in any NFL draft. So with where this quarterback room was, it was necessary to get somebody in that can have a fighting chance to hold their own right off the rip. Because there were some rumors now that we've been hearing that Daniel Jeremiyah of the NFL Network was saying, well, the Cardinals weren't as infatuated with Ty Simpson as a lot of people thought. They might have had Carson Beck on the board before. So it always might have been the play for Carson Beck. Now, rumors are rumors. We will never truly know if that is the case. But at the end of the day, aren't you more comfortable taking Carson Beck in the 3rd round than having to have given up draft capital, trading out of possibly getting a generational talent like Jeremiah Love, picking one of those offensive tackles, and then going with Ty Simpson? Because then that completely takes you off the board, or it should, of looking at 2027 for the quarterback class. And I don't know if you guys saw this already, but those early mock drafts are coming in, and it looks like the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, NFL.com did say they were going to be the worst team, but Fox is saying that we're going to have the number 2 pick, and it's going to be Dante Moore. So you got to take a swing here. You got to see if this kid is worth a damn at all, because going into this season with just Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew and Keaton Slovis was going to be a recipe for disaster, not only for this team as a whole, but for this fan base. And at the end of the day, I want to have some hope. I want to have some rooting interests for guys that haven't been around. Give me a rookie quarterback. Let's see what he's made of. Give me Jeremiah Love. Let's see what he can do running the football and catching the football as well. I think the Cardinals did exactly what they needed to do in this draft.
Can you pull the mock draft up? Was Sam Levitt 4th overall?
It looks like it.
What if Sam Levitt goes to LSU, has a crazy season this year under Lane Kiffin, and we take fucking Sam Levitt? What if it's tank for Sam, dude? I'm not super high on Arch Manning. If you want to know my honest opinion, he played, I think, 8-on-8 ball in high school. Wasn't super spectacular with Texas. Hasn't been really crazy. I mean, it's gonna be make or break. Dante Moore probably would have been the 2nd overall quarterback in this draft class. Interesting to have him back at Oregon. Dillon Raiola transferring Nebraska to be his backup. Yeah, dude, Sam Levitt might go ball out at LSU and might be the number 2 quarterback, or no, he might even be the number 1. I think he has a program like LSU with that sort. I mean, he had Jordan Tyson, so he had somebody to throw to. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. That caught my eye.
It's crazy because like I'm looking on Tankathon right now and their big board, and they don't even have. Well, if Sam Levitt wants to, could he still stay in college past this next season?
I think so. He's only a junior, right?
Yeah, because
he's going into his junior
I
year?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he might have redshirted.
Yeah, the whole COVID messed up all of the eligibility things. So like, yeah, he's a sophomore. Say he's going into his junior year. So realistically, he could Dante Moore it and go back, to where he kind of fishes and sees what's out there as far as the market, and then goes, But yeah, Dante Moore, man.
And I mean, even like potentially like later in the 1st round, depending on where we end up, you could get Lenore Sellers, Trinidad Chambliss, Julian Sain.
Lenore Snell, dude.
I like Lenore Sellers, dude.
Yes.
That kid's a beast.
Isn't that the kid from Ole Miss or whatever that's fighting with the NCAA?
Yeah, I think he's trying to get his like 10th year.
I think he got it. I think they
like
paid a judge enough money. They paid somebody enough money. Some Ole Miss booster who's got old money somewhere was like, oh yeah, he can play.
Hey, you give Carson Beck shit for being a super senior. This guy is the ultimate Van Wilder, Chris.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Man, they really are milking the COVID thing and their red shirt years and all that. I mean, man, super duper senior. Does he have to be like a graduate student? Like,
oh yeah, he doesn't go to class, dude. That he hasn't been to a class in 3 years,
Dude.
guy. Like, no, he literally, I think it was some he's trying to ask for like a medical thing, and so the school he said the school had medical records of him getting things done or whatever, and the school was like, no, like we don't have anything like that. So that was like the argument, that none of his injuries that he said was why he needed to get that extra year weren't recorded or anything. It's interesting. I don't know.
If Trinidad Chambliss doesn't finish with a master's degree by the time he's done playing college football, I have a lot of questions. A lot of questions.
He better cure cancer, dude.
man, I mean, that's another conversation for another day. I like that these kids are making money. I like that they're getting money off their name and likeness and able to have sponsorships, but the NCAA has opened up a can of worms that they're really going to have to work out, because they need a salary cap or something. They got to be like the NFL. They can't be like professional baseball, or you're just going to get the Dodgers and Yankees, aka Alabama and Georgia. Like, and it's just not going to be good for the sport. And you've basically turned this into semi-pro football at this point. Like, these are professional football players to some extent when they're making money. But again, another conversation for another day.
You could argue that that's also how we get schools like Indiana to win national championships for the first time ever. I think the 12-man college football play, I saw that they were trying to make the NCAA tournament, 76 teams?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What's going on, dude? But yeah, it's nice to see them making money, dude. That's because I really like those college football games. So just fucking pay them so I can play that game.
Speaking of other conversations for another day, during the Final Four, or not the Final Four, just March Madness in general, and them talking about expanding that pool, they were like, why not just have every single D1 school make the March Madness tournament? Because all you have to do is extend it by like 2 or 3 rounds. It wouldn't even be that crazy. You trim those games off the season, and then, because there's like 160 or something FBS schools or whatever. But again, another conversation for another day. That's a little crazy. But for the sake of time, let's finish out talking about the Cardinals draft. And I think, what was it, Mike? You said picks 4 through 7, and we'll keep it real high level here. We got, with the pick in the 4th round, pick 104, the defensive tackle Caleb Proctor out of, what is that? Be Southern Louisiana?
Southeastern Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Oh, God.
My goodness, big boy, 6'2", 291. I'll just run down the line real quick. In the 5th round, pick 143, wide receiver Reggie Virgil out of Texas Tech. Round 6, pick 183, linebacker Carson Sharar out of Iowa. And round 7, pick 217, outside tackle or offensive tackle Jaden Williams from Mississippi. Big boy again, 6'4", 307. We'll see what those late round guys do, if they end up being practice squad members. Maybe we get a flash in the pan. But I primarily want to focus on our round 4 and round 5 picks with the DT and wide receiver. Specifically, we did, of course, get Walter Nolan last year with our 1st round pick to play defensive tackle. Now you throw Caleb Proctor in the mix, throw Reggie Virgil into an interesting wide receiver room that has obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson. So you're not expecting him to get a whole lot of reps, but maybe see what he has. Matt, I guess I'll toss it down to you first here. What do you make of these first couple of picks?
The first FCS player taken in the NFL draft. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Not overall in this draft. He was the first one. There was 4 guys from the FCS who were drafted.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
he was the first.
I was gonna say, if that's the case. Regardless, though, dude, these small schools, they scare me. I get scared because it's one of those things where you go and watch like rec baseball or something, and you watch some dude that used to play pro ball playing, and you're like, holy shit, that guy's great. That's what this dude is in the FCS. Like, you're kind of FCS games, like Ohio State pays you $2 million to play them because they know they're going to beat the shit out of you. Like, scares me. Although the size is good. Usually FCS, you're really undersized. So 6'2", 291 is pretty damn good. Obviously, if you're getting drafted in the 4th round of anything in the NFL draft, you have talent. So that's good. The 9 sacks for an interior was the interior line. Yeah, I mean, it could be one of those things where you get him into an NFL weight program, you get him eating food, you get him around, other dudes to kind of learn. He could be great. He could be that other thing next to Nolan, to where we have 2 good, solid defensive linemen that can clog up that center line, get to the quarterback if they need to. The 13 tackles for loss is pretty freaking nice to see. The only thing that scares me is the FCS, but I also said the same thing about when we drafted, I think it was Zaven Collins, was out of some small school. Wasn't super excited about that. I learned to really like Zaven Collins a lot. So I'm hoping this kind of turns into one of those. Southland Player of the Year. Did not see that. Yeah, I'm not mad. It's one of those where you see like other teams just throw away garbage picks at this point. This is something that could turn into a player that's playing 2, 3, 4, 5 downs a drive, and we see him out there making actual impactful plays.
Yeah, I mean, the third days of drafts are always a crapshoot, right? You're trying to find those. This is one of my favorite phrases, diamonds in the rough, man. Shout out to Aladdin. You guys know what I'm talking about. But could Caleb Proctor be that guy? I don't know, but it's kind of the same thing. Like I was talking about with Chase Bisontis, you got to take swings at guys in the trenches. And as an interior defender, they're saying he's an elite athlete with rare playmaking range. So he can be elusive rusher with an explosive first step. I think Matt kind of touched on it too. He does lack the anchor or contact balance to withstand power. So he's going to still have to get stronger to match up to the bruisers of the NFL game. But, I do have to say this. I think we finally heard that Walter Nolan's knee injury was not an ACL, or it was not as bad as we thought. He did have surgery to clean it up, but it sounds like he's going to be ready for training camp. So you're going to be primarily healthy on the offensive line. I do have a list of free agent guys that the Cardinals aren't going to be bringing back that we'll go over really quickly after, but no more Calais Campbell. I don't know who was the other guy that we brought in on the defensive line that we were so excited about, but he just didn't do anything. You guys will have to think about it. It's the big man from the Cleveland Browns. But anyways, take swings later on in the draft. I like that. And it's the same with Reggie Virgil. Like he's a taller guy. He's competitive at the point of attack for jump balls. He only saw starting reps in 2 seasons, but I mean, he's probably going to be one of those guys who will be a special teamer. He has played and he's a more experienced wideout even through just the 2 seasons of starting reps. But man, this wide receiver room is top heavy, obviously, when you talk about MHJ and Michael Wilson, but Zay Jones is not coming back. Greg Dortch is not coming back. You have Kendrick Bourne. I think that wide receiver 4 position is going to be up for grabs. And if this guy can take it by the horns, he's going to have an opportunity. But Chris, what'd you see from these 2 guys specifically, Caleb Proctor and Reggie Virgil?
Yeah, I think like you guys were saying, there's a lot of potential with Caleb Proctor, and clearly depth is not necessarily a bad thing. Will he see the field? Maybe not. Are you thinking about Roy Lopez, Mike? No one else. Okay, I'm gonna stop guessing. With Reggie Virgil though, I know I like the size. We always come on here and complain about tossing it up to the small, undersized receivers, the Greg Dortches, the John Browns, and you go out and you get a guy that's 6'3", kind of a slender frame. And I know one of the big criticisms is he doesn't have great top speed, which will be more noticeable in the NFL at this level with the top speed that they have. But he has good sure hands. He can high point the ball. And I think this is a guy that you will see get some reps. Now, I don't know. I think all these anything past round 3 is a real gamble, and you're just kind of seeing what you got in these guys. So not expecting a lot, but like you said, Mike, maybe we grab a few diamonds in the rough here. Maybe one of these guys breaks out and shows us something.
Yeah, and I know even further on in the day, and on day 3, round 6, round 7, those are the complete shots in the dark. Carson from the Iowa Hawkeyes, he was only a 1-year starter. His production kind of masked his inconsistencies in the box, but he is rarely fooled by misdirection and scrambles to recover. Does lack a bit of size to play effectively through contact, and he's going to need to work on slipping blocks more consistently. But they're saying he could be a core special teams guy, like a standout, right? So those are those guys that you find in the back half of drafts. And Jane Williams is just a complete project. His NFL draft profile was kind of depressing. I feel bad for the kid. They were just like average size and length, plays with taller pad levels than teams want to, has tightness in his lower half. But he can find leverage in hand strikes when needed, but everything else was just like, oh man. And this is another SEC product, but yeah, this is a project for him. Carson Sher might have a shot. Obviously, we know that Cody Simon kind of took the reins for that interior linebacker position. If we're going to have, defensive sets where he's not rushing the passer, he could be somebody that works well in the run game. Who knows? You just kind of are taking shots in the dark in the second half. But I'd be interested to see if Caleb Proctor really gets run on the defensive line. I think that's the biggest one for me. The first FCS player taken in this draft. Does he meet the standards of what it truly means to be an NFL pro? We will see. Matt, you got anything else for any of these final guys that are coming to the desert?
No, I would feel really bad if I worked my whole life and read my NFL draft profile and it said some shit like that. The Iowa kid, I mean, that's one of those things. I mean, Iowa's notorious for these pretty decent across the field, good linebackers. Their defenses are solid. Again, another one of those undersized guys that where you get them in the weight room and eating, that NFL money diet, you start to get a little bigger. But yeah, you might see him on special teams, something like that, to where he breaks in on a weird play. I'd get Dennis Gardeck vibes from him. I don't know why. One of those kind of maybe just a workhorse type dude that earns his way on the field. I saw MFC had said that the 4.57 40 for our boy Reggie ain't spectacular looking, but I'm a firm believer as somebody that's actually played football, there is a difference between being fast and football fast. So could be one of those things. And then, yeah, I think on the screen, the big, it could be, it's 50-50. It could be one of those, maybe doesn't work out, or the dude's just a stud and eats it up and eats up being around. I would imagine if you're at, southeastern Louisiana, you're not around maybe the best equipment, the best facilities. So maybe he embraces it and takes this thing as a super professional. So yeah, I'm excited. It's interesting that we didn't do any trades. I feel like there's always something to where we do some sort of trade, whether it's down or up, or usually never up. But yeah, I'm not mad. I think the Caleb Proctor thing is the one that we could see actually having some sort of impact within the next year or two.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Matt. I mean, with Virgil, that's a 4.57 40, not in pads or a helmet. That's just straight street clothes. Yeah, guys, a little rough on Jaden Williams. Maybe he'll be in the UFL soon, but props for getting drafted. A lot of guys that didn't get drafted, so that says something. I mean, these are the best football players in the world, and there are just only so many spots to go around. But I don't have a whole lot more thoughts on the draft. I'm curious to see the other moves that shake out here in the off season as we kind of get into the training camps and the voluntary workouts and all that stuff. It just sucks that we're still so far away from the NFL season, guys. I mean, we're talking 4 months until we get even, or 3.5, 4 months until we even get preseason football. So buckle up, start watching some baseball, and I'm sure there'll be more news to come. But Mike, I believe you had one last topic that you wanted to look at before we move on.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, at least the very first preseason game is going to be the Arizona Cardinals versus the Carolina Panthers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. So Arizona Cardinals football will be here before anybody else, and I love to see that. But there was some news that showed up today that I saw as well for the free agency system transactions. And this is the list of guys that it looks like the Arizona Cardinals are not going to be pursuing bringing back. A lot of familiar faces on this list. I just wanted to get your guys' reaction. Longtime tackle Kelvin Beachum, Mr. Calais Campbell, Will Hernandez, who kind of struggled through his injury, did give it a valiant effort last year. And then VSP Tallman's favorite, Zay Jones, will no longer be an Arizona Cardinal. Matt, when you see this list, is there anybody on this list that jumps out at you where you feel like the Arizona Cardinals should have maybe given them one more chance?
Maybe Calais for a farewell tour. I don't know. But no, there's no one person on here where I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh my God. That's, yeah. I mean, Calais, I hope he retires. He was fun to watch. He's a cool, he's a cool guy. I feel like having that locker room to where he has a great veteran presence. But yeah, there's no Zay Jones. Rip, pour one out for VSP.
Zay Jones.
Zay Jones. Will Hernandez, that's another one. I feel like Will Hernandez has been around our team in some capacity here for a little bit. Aaron Brewer has been our long snapper for a little. Yeah, no, nothing too crazy. Welcome to the NFL. Not for long.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, this is to be expected with a new coach coming in. And I know a lot of people liked Will Hernandez. That was Kyler's guy on the O-line there, but only 5 games in 2024 and 7 games last year. We're referencing VSP Tallman a lot for a guy who's playing Pirate in the Ocean right now. What's the best quality? It's availability, and Will Hernandez is not available, and he's 30 years old, which everyone knows once you're past 30, you're past your prime. So that goes same for Calais Campbell. Like the dude, but don't waste a roster spot on that guy. He's too old, and he should retire, and he should be on a beach or in the ocean somewhere enjoying all the money that he made in the NFL. And hey, maybe bring him back as a coach or an advisor one day. I think that would be really cool. I'd like to have him around the organization. I just think there are younger men with less miles on their extremities that we can bring in here. But yeah, I'll agree with Matt. I mean, I like Zay Jones for the meme factor, but he did absolutely fuck all for this team last year and the year before. So I mean, good riddance. See you later, man. Mike, what about you, man? What are your thoughts?
There is nobody on that list that I thought deserved a chance or even a 1-year flyer. I mean, Jonah Williams, bye-bye. Kelvin Beachum, thanks for playing. That does give me hope as well for the Arizona Cardinals because, there's a good amount of offensive linemen on that list that aren't getting flyers to be even just brought in for training camp. And I think that shows because they know how porous they were, that they need to move in different directions. So that's always a positive light, at least from my aspect. When I see things like that, it's like, 4th time's gonna be the charm. No, it's not. Like, these guys are who they are. They're old. They're injury prone. It's time to move forward. It's time to get younger. So liked what the Cardinals did in this draft, man. I'm very excited to get these young pieces in here, but we know they got to start hitting if Monty wants to stick around.
Amen to that. I agree. I think it's exciting in a sense that we're going to see some new faces. We have plenty of film on all these other guys. You got to trim the fat. You got to get some new looks and see what you're working with. And the benefit of having a new coach is that you get a little more extra time with these guys and those voluntary workouts and things like that. So we'll see who they bring in. I mean, we haven't been very impressed the last couple seasons with their offseason acquisitions. And I think by and large, free agency is pretty much dried up, but there's still some wiggle room. There's still some undrafted guys out there, and you never know. But before we go ahead and get out of here, I want to give you each the floor one last time to share any final thoughts on the Suns, the Cardinals, the D-backs, or anything going on in your personal life, quite frankly. So Mr. T Jr., Mateo, we'll pass it over to you first. What you got, bro?
Oh, it's time to try to fake being a baseball fan. It's tough. No, I'm kidding. It's so slow. Like you said, MFC, it's so far away, but so close. I can feel it. Nothing crazy. Just nice to shoot the shit with you guys. I wish I was playing Pirate in the Ocean too, drinking rum, doing God knows what that kid does when he goes on cruises and shit. I know what he does because I've gone on a cruise with him. It's insanity. But no, I'm happy. That's on the DL, but I'm happy that you guys invited me. It's always fun to sit here, shoot the shit, get a little excited for football. It's kind of like looking at your Christmas presents in like July. You're like, yeah, like December is going to be fun. Just got to wait, guys. We just got to wait.
That's a great way to put it. Looking at your Christmas presents in July. It's like, man, you just keep them wrapped, keep them under the tree. And, it might even be a little longer before you see guys like Carson Beck. I'm sure we'll see some preseason action from him, but that's always an asterisk, if you will. But yeah, we won't talk about the debauchery that VSP Tallman's getting into. I think he's still going to have the week off next week, but we will see him next Saturday, the 9th, in his valiant return to the VSP network, a rare Saturday stream. You know what it is. It's the 999 challenge, the newest annual tradition, the second annual 999 challenge, where we're going to get together and watch the Diamondbacks take on the New York Mets live from my house at the Valley Sports Plug Studios, and see if I can finish the challenge. Came up just short last year. I think I was 8-7 or 7-7. It gets a little fuzzy, but I got a strategy for this year, and I think I'll be able to complete it. But Mike, brother, what you got, man?
The Glizzy Goblins are returning very, very soon to a live stream near you. VSP Tallman better wear an eye patch and say scurvy like the whole stream next Saturday, but that's going to be fun. PTO next week. We're going to dive into the Suns a little bit more. I do need to give a shout out to Nico, aka Neeks. I went to the game with him yesterday. At first, we were just like, let's get in the building. $50. Boom, we're in the upper deck. That's fine. Want to say thank you. But he is pretty savvy when it comes to the tickets and was on sites, and we were able to get in one of those sweet sections. Guys, when I say I've never had more leg room in my life, I am not joking. You know how they pack you in like sardines in the normal levels.
Look at that guy in front of you. He's sitting in 2 seats. That guy is struggling to fit.
And you know what was even better? Free food and drink. Got some pork loins, some shrimp, and a good old Dos Equis. It was a good time, even though the Suns lost. Very appreciative of what they did for not only us here at VSP, but for the Valley, bringing the juice all season long. I can't wait to see where they go from here. But yeah, Cardinals, we still got to wait. Diamondbacks, we'll get back into it in the next couple of weeks as well. And obviously, we're going to be doing that 9-9 challenge, breaking it all down even more there. But appreciate you guys. Mr. T Jr., it's always a pleasure to have you on, man. Appreciate you joining us. And Chris, thank you, good sir.
Yes, sir. It was always a pleasure to be able to come on here and talk sports with you guys. Going to be interesting getting through the summer, talking primarily baseball, but I love it, honestly, and I look forward to getting out to some games. And yeah, it's about to get hot here in the Valley. So make sure you wear sunscreen, make sure you drink plenty of water, and make sure you like and subscribe to this video and to the Valley Sports Plug Network right here on YouTube. You can watch us listen to us on the playback on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Catch all of our links in the description below, and that's going to be at AZ_VSP on Instagram, TikTok, X, pretty much everywhere. But for Mr. Benjamin and Mr. T Jr., I'm Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Wraps things up here, and for one last time, this is Al McCoy saying thanks for being there, thanks for being with us tonight, and from the Footprint Center here in downtown Phoenix, we'll just say so long for now.